Welcome back to Briggs on Books, our international talk show where we talk to authors from all over the world, not just about their books, but their process, how they got from beginning to ending, and how maybe our viewers could get there too. Now, number one purpose for our show is that I read in the morning, I read at night, I read all day long. I'm always having to pick my next book, and I feel like if we can meet the authors and hear a little bit about the book from the author, that we may be more likely to get the book. Our next guest is Don Johnson. Welcome, Don.
Thank you, Mike. I'm happy to be here.
By the way, since we're an international talk show, tell our viewers where you are right now.
Yeah, I'm in a seacoast village on the northeast coast of Scotland, about an hour north of Edinburgh, called Tayport. 3,000 people.
Tayport. That's very nice. Very nice. I want to go there, Don. I'll come see you maybe soon.
Do you play golf?
Okay. Now, you have, by the way, let's tease with the cover of the book first. Mm-hmm. Living a Conscious Life. Tell us the full title of the book.
Yeah, the full title of the book is Living a Conscious Life, How to Find Peace, Wholeness, and Freedom in a Chaotic World.
Now, let's go backwards a little in your life, because I feel like you've maybe had several lives, but you had one as a monk. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I do have several lives. And so when I was a young man, my last year in college, I was introduced to an Indian teacher, an Indian guru, and I began a meditation practice, and I got very, very involved in the organization that sponsored the teachings of this particular individual. So for the next 10 years, because of the nature of how that organization was set up, I was basically a celibate monk working in various parts of the organization. And from my time I was 23 till I was 33, I was in this organization basically as a monk, but I practiced celibacy, chastity, obedience, the whole bit. So yeah, it was an interesting way to start one's life out.
Now, and does your book draw from the principles and things you learned in that period?
The book has 5 sections. One section is devoted to what I would call spirituality and meditation. So there's a lot of information in there. I've been practicing now for 50 years. So some of the roots of where I'm coming from certainly came from that.
Now, when I introduced you, I meant to say Don Johnson, author and human potential coach. And tell me, I've been becoming more and more fascinated by meditating. Can you tell us a little bit about that and why it's important in our lives?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I've learned is that there's 2 games to play in life. One is the inner game, one is the outer game. And when we get the inner game right, the outer game becomes much easier. And that's one of the core principles about, meditation is how to become more present, how to become more observant, how to find a little more connection to oneself, be more balanced. And that enables us simply to be more productive. And as you know, I mean, meditation has really seeped into all facets of our society. It used to be on the fringe. Now it's a lot more mainstream.
Yeah. I can say this, as the mind is incredible when you can get all that clutter out of the way for a little while. And it's just that I don't know if anybody could just jump into meditation. I think it would be good to have a guide or a guidebook.
I offer a lot of that in the book. And, there's lots of tools out there to help people meditate for sure. And I'm not certainly a guru or a teacher. In the book, I just simply share my experience, things that I've learned, the ups and downs. Hey, it's not that easy to be present all the time. We wander off all the time. So, finding, stability in one's life, being more present, being conscious, it's not always that easy.
No. Now, let's just, I keep asking you questions all around your book, but I'll put the book cover up and just tell us a little bit about the book.
Yeah. So the book really started 4 or 5 years ago. I began to write seriously on Medium.com, a platform that you're probably well familiar with. And, Medium creates an opportunity where you can interact with your readers. So my first few articles, I think I wrote about meditation or what have you, and I just got a lot of positive feedback. People were saying this is really great stuff, and it just felt to me like, well, there's a thirst out there. A lot of people are not doing that great, in terms of coming off after COVID, and there's a lot of anxiety and fear and this and that and the other thing. So I just kept writing. I just kept saying, I want to tell my experience, and I want to offer tools. I want to help the world be a better place, basically. And so it was just, little steps at a time, writing. And then I collected after, hundreds and hundreds of articles, I collected a body of work, and I started to think, well, I could probably sort through these and come up with a nice collection of essays, stories, inspirational tools, practical tools from my, corporate coaching work and my life as a VP of sales for, various companies. So the book sort of just kind of came together.
Fell into place, so to speak.
It did.
Who's the book for?
Yeah, who's the book for? I think you would find it in the self-help section of your bookstore or on, on Amazon or what have you. But at the same time, when I looked at the demographics of who was reading my stuff, it was all over the board,
Yeah.
Mike. I mean, I had young people in their 20s reading it. I had 50-year-olds reading it. And I had people, elders, as I like to call them, reading it as well. So there's something in it for everybody. There really is. And it's the kind of book you can pick up, put down, because it's just got chapters and stories. So it's a handbook, really, for somebody who's looking to better themselves or to find more peace, wholeness, and freedom in a chaotic world. I mean, that's really who it's targeted for.
Now, I know in my life, and I've been fairly successful in most of what I do, and I feel it's because I started a journey like this years and years ago in understanding myself and meditation and goal setting and things like that. And now here I am 50 years later. I never stopped looking for another book and trying to reach another step. Someone like you, do you still seek out ways to get clarification and keep yourself going?
Oh, absolutely. I really believe in lifelong learning, and I know that I've got lots to learn. I've got lots of flaws. I've worked on them. Spent my time in therapy. I've done all kinds of transformational work, and I'm still on the path, and I love the journey. And and I challenge myself too. I mean, I've got a consulting business. I've got a coaching practice. Learned to play golf at the age of 68, and I'm shooting relatively decently. So
Nice.
I believe in challenge and goals, and this notion of getting old. It's a number. To me, it's not real.
Yeah.
There's something more important, which is gaining wisdom and embracing being an elder, and that's really what I'm seeking, and that's what I try to do.
I guess my question is more, does a coach still need a coach? And you say, yeah, always be learning and growing. And so I would say for our viewers who are into this, especially for our viewers who are not into this, you should have this book. Make this your next book. And by the way, Don, I am one who, I never order one book. I always order 5 copies or 10 copies because I like to give books out, especially books like this can help take people to the next step.
You're a good guy. That's awesome.
I always have to go to a house party where you want to take a host gift, and a lot of people take a bottle of wine, but when I show up and I bring a book, you can bet next time I'm there, that book's on their shelf. So,
that's really cool. What a great idea. Good for you.
By the way, did you move to Scotland to pursue your golf interest?
No, not at all. What happened there is simply I worked when I was from 2011 to 2017, I was a vice president of sales for a company that does a psychometric personality profile, and it's used in all major corporations around the world. So that company was headquartered in Scotland, and I had just separated from my wife at that time, and I came to a company meeting. I sat next to a woman who was wearing patchouli oil, and that kind of rang my bell. I mean, given that, I grew up in the 70s and such, and a conversation started, and before you know it, we were a couple, and she's Scottish, and a little bit younger than I am, so it was much easier for me to come here. And she didn't want to come and live in suburban Philadelphia after
Yeah.
growing up in the rugged wilds of Scotland.
Scotland, yeah. That's exciting, Don. We're really running out of time, but I just want to give you a moment to, well, let's say this first. I have your website on the screen, bemoreconscious.com/book. What would we find there?
You're going to find a couple things. One, you're going to find information, overview information about my beliefs and philosophy around what is it to become more conscious. Second, you're going to find a link to the book, information about the book, link to Amazon, that sort of thing. It's pretty simple.
Very good. We're really out of time, Don. Any last thoughts you'd like to share with our viewers about you, the book, or life in general?
Yeah, no last thoughts. To me, my feeling is let's take an opportunity whenever we can to be kinder, to be more respectful to others, to be kind to ourselves, because honestly, my experience, the way that we treat ourselves is often how we treat others. So it's really about let's try to make the world a better place.
Yeah. And you can start by buying Don's book. By the way, on Amazon, he's Donald E. Johnson. Is that correct?
If you just type in living a conscious life, the book will come up.
Yeah,
and
that's how
my
I found
author
it.
name is Donald E. Johnson. But yeah, it's right there. It's easy to find.
Hey, Don, I'd like to have you back on the show again and again. You're a fascinating guy, and I think you have a lot more stories in you.
I got a lot to share, Mike. If as long as you ask the right questions, you can pull it out.
Okay, very good.
Happy to share. Happy to be back for sure.
It's just a pleasure to have you. By the way, for our viewers, don't go anywhere. We have another author coming up right after this. In the meantime, here's Don's book cover and information. We'll be right back.